Haha. Under. Naz, officially.
Oh,
Under.
there it is.
Under. You never know what's going to happen here on Live from Rabs, from inside Rabs Country Lanes.
We're inside. It's quite empty.
Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected.
That's right.
I don't know what we win, but Jim Episcopia said he was on board, and Joe asked for his $200 because he passed go, assuming Jim was playing Monopoly.
Pay up, Jim. He said on board. I'm assuming Monopoly.
Now,
pay up.
Joe, he could have also been letting us know that he was here and not late, because the last few days we've had to put some people into detention.
Yes, he didn't want to be. He didn't want to pay the tardy fee. So yeah, that's true.
Well, it is a beautiful day out today, I have to say.
It is.
I went out. I actually put my furniture out on my patio in my backyard. I went out and I checked out my grill. I think I'm going to grill later today.
Yeah, today's a good grill day.
It's planted a couple plants in the front. It was nice. Nice to have some extended time outside.
Yes, nice day today. Nice day.
Kevin tells us he's got no more guessing. We have too much control.
Oh. You finally figured it out, Kevin.
Although you really never know. That's how you rig it. Come on.
Yeah,
we're just talking about bookies.
You can, that's a whole other story. You can Jimmy rig anything. That's okay.
It's funny. It was every day that I've decided to grill, and that's what we plan. It's been raining. Yeah, it's been cold. Yeah. So today I'm excited because it's nice. And then tomorrow is going to be
another crappy day. Yeah, another crappy day tomorrow. Yeah. More rain.
Yeah. Bowling weather on a Sunday when people can't bowl.
Yes, that's right.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday.
And we really know it's Saturday because the one and only
Joe Cal's here.
Joe Cal is with us in the studio.
Saturday.
And it's what we dubbed. That wasn't a bottle of water, was it?
No. It was.
It was one of the bobbles.
It was
a bobblehead.
Is it my
guy?
Okay.
And it's Saturday, so that means
PBA USBC Hall of Famer Mike Aulby
is here. Is here with us today. Not in studio.
The house.
He's around. He's not here, but he's around.
Yep. Oh, we're excited. We got a great show today.
Yep.
We had a good week. Tomorrow we're going to start off a new week.
Fresh.
Sunday, beginning of the week.
Episode 35, Joe.
Wow. 35. Wow. Who would have thought? 35. Who would have thought? I have to tell you, though, just a little tidbit. Shout out to Chuck Gardner for what he said yesterday. I went to my locker when I got here. Got here a little early today. Opened the locker. Took my ball out of the carrier. And I made a quick sign of the cross and said, please let my thumb feel okay. Because it's been a while. I put my thumb in. I said, not bad. Went down by lane 2. Stood over there. Took about 10 or 12 swings with the ball. Didn't feel loose. Everything was nice.
All right, then.
I'm ready to go. Whenever we open up, I'm ready. I'm ready to start leaving more 10 pins and 5 pins. I'm ready to go.
The 5 pin.
The 5 pin. The king.
For those that have watched, you've heard a lot about the 5 pin.
Yes,
here,
indeed.
And Joe's experience with the 5 pin.
With all those revs I have on the ball,
Joe, you're very lucky because we really don't let anybody into the inner sanctum.
Yes,
I know.
We've had many ask.
I know. I'm blessed and I feel honored. Believe
he didn't actually bowl.
No, I didn't bowl. I stood on by lane 2 and just swung the ball back and forth. And after 10, 12, back in the carrier, back in the locker. See you when I see you.
I haven't bowled. Naz hasn't.
Nobody's bowled.
Oh, the kids. My niece and nephew have bowled.
And other than the family, Joe and the exterminator are pretty much the only people that have been in the building.
Well,
besides Jimmy and Piero, but their family.
Well, Marco and his crew were here for a while, right?
Yeah,
and then
they haven't been
here.
The only other outsiders were yesterday. Manhattan Beer, sadly, in a good way, good for us, but sadly had to pick up product. We had beer product that we had to exterminate.
Okay.
Really, nobody's been. So you know, Joe, you're lucky.
I feel
and Joe Bruno, wherever you are, we know you're checking in, but we hope you're all right. We miss you.
Yeah, Joe.
We know you're not allowed to leave the house.
No, he's watching the draft.
Choice or not?
My phone is blowing up. I'm on a group text with Joe Bruno, Tony Everett, Mike Giovinazzo, and Rob D'Onofrio. And since the draft started on Thursday night, I must have gotten about 3,600 texts about who the Jets are going to take and who they're not going to take and why did they take this guy. I love those guys dearly, but they don't work. They think they work. You don't work for ESPN. Easy on the text, boys. It's okay.
Don't they know that there are other things happening?
It's you know what though, it's the first live
There
sporting
really
event.
isn't
Yeah,
other
it's the
things
first-
happening.
No, Live from Rabs is
Well,
happening.
live
Oh,
from
well,
Rabs
for
is
one,
happening,
right,
but I
for an
mean,
hour and a half.
But I have
yeah.
to say that
Yeah.
the draft,
What is
it
going
was
on
exciting
here?
because
it was, yeah. For the major sports, we haven't had anything.
Yeah.
And to have
Except
the
for
NFL draft,
WrestleMania.
except for WrestleMania, but to have the NFL draft and get excited for your team's picks, and even though it's the Jets, we're Jet fans, and that's a whole nother. We could spend hours talking about that, but it's something nice. So hopefully we get live sports back soon.
I got a little excited for a couple Jets picks.
Yeah,
You know,
they made some good picks.
I,
They made
Well,
some good
I
picks.
guess that's the good part about finishing lower in the
Yes,
standings
which
is
they're
that
very-
you get better
which
picks.
we are very used to for quite a long time. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
So speaking of sports, and we haven't really talked about sports at all, but did anybody see the Gronk joining
with Brady in Tampa
with
Bay.
Brady in Tampa Bay?
Yes.
I didn't foresee that happening.
I didn't either.
I don't think
but
anybody did.
money talks.
You
so,
know, I watched a special. I'm not sure if it was 60 Minutes or one of those short ESPN
the
ones,
E60, the E60.
about Gronk,
Yeah.
and he was talking about his like injuries and concussions and how he felt like it affected
Right.
his life, and he really seemed like he was ready to get off the football roller coaster type
Yeah,
thing,
he
and I
was.
guess
Well, Brady
he got
convinced
his
him.
head snapped around.
I think so. He did. I think Brady, going down to a new team in a new city in a warmer climate, maybe had something to do with it. They have that connection, he and Brady.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I thought it was. I was really surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I
Listen,
was
I
too.
hope for the best for him because the head injury thing is a scary.
Yeah.
It's if you really read up on it, and it's scary.
It is bad. It's those
a
concussions.
scary deal
Yeah,
because
they-
it's cumulative over
Yeah.
years and years.
Yeah, remember the poor guy that
So-
played for the Giants? He played for the Bears and the Giants, Dave Dorson.
Yeah.
Concussions, and he wound up unfortunately taking his own life because he had
Yeah.
post-traumatic with the concussions from all the hits and everything. So yeah, it definitely takes a
So
toll.
Kevin said his wrestling career didn't take off.
No,
So
he
he
went
went
back. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Kevin.
that's
yeah, he's a big goofball anyway, Grant.
he
But he likes to have fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. But listen, I pray for his well-being.
Yes.
We'll see what happens.
Listen, I wish the best for him. I wish everybody to make money and make lots of it.
And he's
too.
still young. I don't even. Is
yeah,
he
he's a
even
young
like
guy,
early 30s?
and that's why I was actually impressed at that age, at pretty much the height of his career,
Yeah.
to make a decision like that.
Yeah.
Which is a substantial
Yes.
decision to make, and it was before Brady.
Yeah.
left.
Before
So,
Brady. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, it was just interesting. But listen, again, no fun with Bill.
No fun with Bill. Yeah, I'm a Patriots fan, so he's having a tough time right now. Ronnie lost Brady, lost Gronk. Don't worry, Ronnie. You still get to play the Jets twice a year, so it's okay.
Hey, you know what? We have a season to look forward to, and hopefully,
Yes.
listen, it's baseball season. I'm still struggling here. Let's see. Let's see.
I'm predicting, and Lord knows I've been wrong plenty, but I'm saying we're going to have half a baseball season.
Yeah.
The All-Star break is going to be, in my opinion, when the season is going to start, around the All-Star break. So, and we're going to have 81 games, which in theory, 81 games is enough to determine, how
I
good
guess
your
it'll
team
have
is.
to be this year. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how stadiums open up.
Yeah.
Actually, now that you say that, I heard them talking on the radio this week about changing, all baseball would be played maybe in one city.
2 states,
Right.
Arizona
Right.
and Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
And where your spring training site is,
If that's what.
that's your league. So in other words, there wouldn't be a traditional AL and an NL. It would be where you have your practice facility. That's your league
Right.
now. So the Arizona teams play amongst themselves.
Right.
The Florida teams play. And then at the end, when all is said and done, they pick a neutral site somewhere else and play there.
Joe, so you heard it here first. Breaking news. This is Joe's prediction.
Just my theory. Don't bet on it, because the Lord knows I've been wrong plenty.
And if there's inside information here, Joe, we don't want to get you in trouble.
No, it's not. No, we don't cover baseball. Well, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, but ESPN doesn't. They don't look at ABC Sports as a real.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going through the same thing that Frankie and I are going through. We're trying to discuss all the possible scenarios going forward.
Yeah.
And a few days pass by, something information changes.
Yeah.
So now you have to change your plans.
Yeah.
But
true.
and I could just imagine with something like Major League Baseball, any major sport.
Yeah.
That's got to be a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure.
A lot to consider.
Yep.
A lot to consider.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
We've set a date, May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
And with your spirit.
May the 4th.
I was being funny.
Yes,
being
it's
funny.
right here.
I know that. And we'll circle back. So hello to everybody.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
we were
John
just going on and
Sorrentino. Hey, John. Nice to see you. And so Kenny now goes into tension. Kenny Soto.
Yeah, he's
late. He's got a good reason, though. I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
St. Joseph by the Sea was dropping signs
I
congratulating all the
saw
seniors.
that Farrell did that.
Yeah,
that's
also.
cool.
Congrats
That's
to all
really
the
cool.
seniors. Congrats to all the seniors.
And a conversation we were having a couple weeks ago with Janine Murphy. The schools are making their efforts to make sure they celebrate their seniors, and so they'll get their due.
Yep.
It'll just be different.
Yeah, it'll be very different.
It'll just be very different.
Yeah,
for them.
yeah. It's gonna, a friend of mine said in one of her posts that she hopes that they look at this as a gift, and things are going to be different, and but you have to look, you have to try to put a positive spin on things like this that happen. It's out of your control.
Out of everybody's. Yeah,
So-
we got to try to look at glass half full.
Sorrentino's prediction: Vince McMahon must be a little pissed about Gronk.
He probably is. Yeah, he probably
But
is.
again, money talks.
Money
right?
talks.
Hey,
Yep.
so it's Saturday. We could talk all day, but
Yeah.
it's not about us. We've got a special guest with
Yes,
us
we
today.
do. I'm
Yes, we
sorry
do.
about that.
And nothing for you to be sorry
No.
about. I felt bad for Mike because poor Mike's is listening to
Mike
us.
had to listen to all
Just
this.
talk about nothing.
No, it was great.
Hey, Michael, welcome.
Hey, Mike.
Oh,
Hi, Mike.
good to see you guys. Hello.
How are you doing?
About like everybody else, you just kind of, I've got a couple businesses which are both not happening. So, you go each day and make sure they're all right and the building's okay and locked up. And, we've got a small handful of staff that we try to keep on and, give them something to do and hopefully pay enough of their bills till we get back open.
Yeah, we hear you. Obviously, you could see. I'm sure this is what your bowling center looks like too.
You could hear a pin drop, right? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I
Bum,
like
bum,
that.
Appearing here nightly, take care of
That's
your
a
waiters and waitresses.
good
Yes.
one.
Good job. Good job.
We like that. We've been dropping the puns. I
Yeah.
like that. That's
a
not one
good
we've
one.
dropped.
It's a good one.
That's
It's a good one, Mike.
Well, and earlier you guys saved it because you didn't spill water on the approach, and I've been watching, so you guys have done a good job of keeping things on.
We have. Although we had a mystery sticky
Yeah,
spot.
something.
there's a spot
It's
over
been
there.
taken care of.
Yeah.
But we walked onto
Is
the
it gone now?
set, and there was a
It's
mystery
gone.
sticky
It's gone.
spot on the approach.
It's gone. I took a little paper towel and wiped it.
Maybe the ghost.
I don't know.
Maybe somebody's trying to tell us
Is
something.
Milton back there again?
Milton's here.
He's
I'm telling you,
definitely
Milton
around.
is here.
He's around.
He's always here.
Yep.
He's been here. Well, Mike, thank you. Thank you for accepting our invitation and coming in and to talk with us. I know you've been watching. We've been laughing about it. Mike did say he watched yesterday, so to make sure he didn't get bumped. And of all people, you'd be the last one that
Oh,
would
the
be
last.
bumped.
Definitely.
And actually, and for the record, we really haven't bumped anyone.
Anybody.
They've bumped us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
We don't need
No.
Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I was just
So
hoping to get a good connection.
Where is your state as far as social distancing? Are you pretty much all with the rest of us? And do you have any date going forward or?
We're in Indiana, so our governor's kind of done this group package with, I think it's Ohio, Illinois, Michigan. There's like 6 or 7 states. So they're trying to work together and kind of move in a group like that, but each one of them still seems to be kind of adjusting a little bit. Our bowling center's been closed since March the 16th. All my ice rinks have been closed since March the 16th. They're currently saying, only non-essential work can be done. So we're looking at May 1st is what they're saying, but it's going to go in phases, and there's still going to be an extension past that. They just haven't said when and how long.
Yeah.
So right now it's just you're in the planning stages of, okay, what does it look like at your business? How can you do it right and keep everybody's, the buildings separated and spread out and cleaned and time frame. So, and even when you do that, I think you're going to adjust as, the different people come in. You're going to have to make adjustments where it bogs down, and you need to, separate people. So, it's one of those things you don't know, but you just continue to plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we have plans for so many different things, and you just don't, everybody goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" I wish we knew.
Yeah. That's why I tell them we just kind of take the street down the road, and then make sure you got a plan for the left and a plan to the right. So that's what you can do.
There's bucket 1, there's bucket 2, there's bucket 3.
Yeah.
So our pause date is currently May 15th.
May 15th,
which for us here in New York, of course, we have a lot more cases and the population. But this past week, a lot of these states have now extended to that May 15th date, which makes us think to that point, we'll probably get extended again for a little bit, but we don't know. Yeah. Again, if the caseloads continues to drop, then we'll be in good shape.
Right.
But again, to your point, it's the unknown.
It's been interesting to see Georgia kind of come back online
a little bit.
I don't know if did you watch any of that today on TV?
I did not. I was saving it for later.
Okay,
but I didn't. You could talk about it. I just didn't watch it.
Later. We can talk about it later.
No, I was talking about saving it for later. Maybe when I get home, not for conversation.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it.
They just showed one of the centers that was staying closed, and another one that had opened, and they kind of spoke to them about how they're handling things, and they were using every other lane.
Okay.
I would say probably every other pair. They were limiting how many people on each pair of lanes. And it looked like they had some tables set up with some disinfecting stuff. But honestly, when they showed the people outside, it looked like everybody was a league bowler because they all had double and triple bags. So they were all people that were like chomping at the bit to get back in.
Sure.
So it was interesting. But, it's going to be a road. It's going to be an adjustment coming back.
It's going to be like that here too.
So how are you? How is this being cooped up at home working for you, Mike?
Yeah.
Again, you're out and about all the time, and so this has to be troubling.
I retired from the tour in 2004, so I've been living a normal life somewhat since then. But I still do traveling and stuff. But with the ice rink and the bowling centers, I was still usually I'm there every day of the week anyway, except for the bowling center. Scott Devers does a great job around the day-to-day operation up there, and so I get up there off and on. But the ice rinks, I'm the day-to-day guy. So, but I've been going in a couple times a week, just for a couple hours here or there, sign some checks, things like that. But mainly spend at home and trying to catch up on a lot of the podcasts and watching your show. And it's been, to me, if there's you look at these as small gains, but it's really great how the industry has taken upon these podcasts, these shows, stream shows, to get out to the people that are out there, and it's been a blast for me. I've been trying to enjoy all of them if I can.
Yeah,
it's been pretty good for us too. I mean, look at all the PBA members, right?
Yeah, we've been lucky. We've got really lucky. We got you, which is huge for us.
Yeah,
and our customers appreciate it too, because it kind of keeps them connected in a way to the game.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
And they get an opportunity that they probably never would get other than here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping this continues. Hopefully this, I know you can't do this every day because obviously once the center's going, you're going to be pretty busy, obviously. But
hopefully
continue on, at some point, if it's once a week, once a month. But I think everybody's finding out that this is a nice venue.
Yeah.
And I did a webinar with other local business owners, and then we were talking about ways just to stay in front of your customers. And so
Yeah.
this has become, to your point, one medium that people have taken advantage for us to take advantage of. For us, it really was staying in front of our customers, continuing the conversation.
And we talked about doing it before this even happened.
Absolutely.
We had kind of started. Yeah, we were ready.
and we're gonna continue it. And the other ones, we talked about them yesterday, but Storm's got a great thing. USBC started a great one. Some of the brands that just have embraced it, and so hopefully we'll do it. Video content's so important to put out in the space. So how do you utilize it to your advantage? And here's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But for every type of business, there's got to be a way to stay relevant and just be in front of your customers.
All right. Well, we have our Monday night show, the Draft League show on Monday nights, 3 years running. We're in season 3.
3 years. Mike, I don't know if you heard it. Let's talk about this. But before our Scratch League on Monday nights, Joe and his cohort, Joe, do a live stream before bowling and interview the bowlers. And again, 3 years.
We're in season.
Very cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have a lot of fun with it. I mean, imagine that, a guy from Brooklyn being animated, and having I'm co-host of our own show. Me and my other buddy Joe, we have a great time, and it's just something that we did on a whim as a goof one night, and everybody was like, "You guys are pretty good. You should do that every week." So we're like, "Okay," but now we got to come up with questions for everybody and come up with a whole format. But we were pretty creative, and the show works. But now even we're on pause. But now we have this to offset that, so the beat goes on here at Rab.
Yeah, that's great. You guys have done an awesome job for sure.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
Hey, your name has popped up a lot.
Oh, yeah.
On the last
Is it time for me to lose my connection?
Almost every pro or coach we've interviewed has said your name.
You make quite an impact, Mike, for over the years.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Joe, you've got to have a question that surrounds that for Mike.
I do.
Why? But why did they all mention Mike? And all good.
It is
to an
all
extent.
good.
It's all good to an extent.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'll stay then.
Nothing bad.
The first one really doesn't have to do with bowling, Mike, but Bob Learns said that we were talking about bowlers from the past, and we brought up our friend Johnny Petraglia, who was my boyhood idol, another Italian guy from Brooklyn, Mike. So
I followed when I was a kid.
yes, he's been bowling a long time. But Johnny, when he has a couple of wines, Bob Learns said, Johnny he'll get going and start with the stories. And Leto made a comment, something about there's a couple of other bowlers too. And Bob Learns said, and Mike Aulby falls in line with that too. Give him a couple of wines and he'll have the stories going on too. So is that true?
I might have the stories. The wine is hugely incorrect.
Really?
I haven't had a drink since 1981.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, credit to you. I don't know what Bob Learn was talking about.
The stories are true, but the drinks are not true. I was something I never got into.
Really? Wow. Right. You know what? Maybe
fellow non-drinker.
I guess you fooled him, Mike, because whatever you were drinking, he thought, I guess, was a glass of wine. So maybe it
was usually either a 7-Up or a Coke. And that's
he probably
Pepsi,
thought it was
Pepsi for the BPA side.
There you go. He thought it was a rum and Pepsi, I guess. I don't know. But he said you were a great storyteller. So whether you're imbibing or not imbibing, you're a great storyteller.
Thanks.
And then several of the bowlers, we always like to ask them who they didn't want to face if they had to win a tournament, or who didn't they want to go against. And your biggest nemesis, I think you take the top spot.
Oh, really? Well, that's encouraging and nice to hear. I mean, that people even remember who I am. That's always nice.
Yeah.
Amleto, I believe, told us
Amleto
a couple stories.
He said he mentioned you, he mentioned Norm Duke, and he mentioned Walter Ray. But the funny thing was, when we had Parker Bone on a week ago, we didn't even finish asking him, and he said Mike Aulby. before we finished asking him, and his wife was hysterical because we were asking. She started laughing because she knew, and he was like, Mike Aulby, definitely Mike Aulby. So you definitely left your mark on Parker and some others.
We have some great matches, Parker and I, that's for sure. But out there on tour, I mean, at any one time, anybody could win. So to me, it was just fun being out there, and I was able to make a living doing something fun. And it takes there's a little bit of learning curve to it to be able to get on the show and relax and be able to make some shots when you need them. And you've as many good ones as you have. I always kind of go back to the ones I don't know much about the bad ones because I don't watch those shows. I only watch the ones I won. So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and even yesterday when we had Chuck Garner on yesterday, he mentioned that if he needed a strike, who would he want on the lanes to throw the strike? Without a doubt, Mike Aulby.
Well, I mean, Chuck's been around a long time as well. I mean, he was a bowler, and obviously he's turned that into one of the top ball reps for many years now, and what him and his wife do for charity and for the kids. I mean, it's phenomenal. What he's do. Yeah. And that tells you what kind of guy he is and his family is, and that's what to me is the most important part is to continue to give back like that. And but that's a flattering comment to say. I mean. I was able to make some shots when I needed them, and I always go back to my second show or my third show when I shot 140 on television, didn't call home for a week because I was so embarrassed. So I mean, it's there's good and bad with all that, but no, I was very, very fortunate on the tour and to be able to do what I was able to do.
Chuck is watching, so good thing you didn't say anything bad. And he said, as he says, Mr. Clutch all day, every day. And Leslie piped in because she's watching also. As a follow up from last week, great matches that Mike won.
Yeah.
So now, with that, now the proverbial pebble. Go ahead, ask him the question there, Joe.
All right, so Mike, we've been asking all of our PBA guests. Who was the one guy, if you had to say you were smoking Joe Frazier and you had the big fights against Muhammad Ali, all right, who was that one guy that was the guy that was the pebble in your shoe? The guy that you were like, he's always around. I can't get out of his way. Who was that guy?
So you were the pebble for all these other guys.
Who was your pebble?
Who was the pebble that was in your shoe?
Well, I don't know if it's a pebble's the right word for this one, but the toughest opponent for me to bowl was my brother-in-law, Steve Cook. I mean, wow. We knew each other so well, obviously family and friends and doubles partners. And, so, you always try to find ways to mentally find an edge. And I just didn't have that with Steve because, we knew each other so well. And so it was very difficult to find that, that one mental thing that gets you to makes you try a little hard, dot the I's and cross the T's and all that. But Steve and I for me, it was just, he was the toughest one for me to bowl.
Yeah, well, plus he's 6'7",
and both on the left side,
and for that reason too. But
yeah, that's right.
And both on the left side of the lane. So, maybe that had, maybe the lanes changed more when you were playing against another lefty too. Maybe.
Yeah. That plays into it, but it was more about just the whole mental part of it.
Mindset, yeah.
My game was somewhat simpler, but it was more for me. I would take weeks off just because mentally I didn't have it because I always felt that I could overcome things mentally, with over my physical game if I had it 100% and I was really into it, and not having those peaks and valleys. And so Steve, it's been great. Ever since Tammy and I got married, we've spent every Christmas with Candy and Steve at their house in California for the last 35 years. So we've all stayed pretty close.
That's good.
That's cool. It's a good idea to go west at that time.
And I will say I've had the opportunity to go, Mike and a group of guys in the industry go bowl the opening squad typically at the Open Championships. And I will tell you, that is a group that everybody would want to be a part of and watch.
Really? Yeah.
And poor Mike and his doubles partner. But it's great to see the dynamic. Steve was bowling also. He's been injured. So, but he did. He's going out there. He's pushing himself.
Yeah.
This group of guys to watch them bowl has been even today is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And the stories.
Yeah.
Steve don't let up on Mike.
Really?
No.
Wow.
It's not about the Eagles anymore. It's about the stories. That's exactly the memory.
Pretty good. So Mike, just if you were, say, in charge of a team and you had to draft a team, I'm going to give you the opportunity to take one bowler from the 1970s. I'm going to let you take two bowlers from the 1980s.
Oh boy.
Because you could pick you as one of the bowlers. Okay. One bowler from the 1990s and another bowler from the year 2000 till today. So a 5-man team. Who would you take? One guy from each era except the 80s. You get to pick two.
That is a very difficult question, obviously. 70s obviously incorporates quite a few, but it's hard. But to me, one of the perfect leadoff guys would be Billy Hardwick. But Billy was a 60s and 70s guy. But I knew Billy quite a while. Billy gave me I met him at the All-American Youth Championships in 1978. And he felt I was good enough to try the tour back then. And so my parents drove me down to Florida to meet Billy. And Billy took me around South Florida. And I was, just out of high school. And he set up action matches. I bowled Butch Gerhardt in Lighthouse Point, I think it was, Florida. And then we went down to Don Carter Kindle. I bowled against Dave Ohm and a guy named Dave Walters, in a big match in front of Don Carter and his wife. It was just, for a year-old, it was unbelievable. And then I bowled another match against a young guy who was he bowled some regionals, Billy Block, and he had just shot 900 or something for 4, and so they had matches, and so I got to bowl that match. So that was my baptism into action bowling. So it was a lot of fun, and Billy kind of set that up for me. So and it all helped for when I went out on tour. I was then comfortable in all these situations. But I would say Billy from the 70s, and this is not a knock on any of the other. Trust me, this is what comes for me. And in the 80s, obviously Earl. Earl could be in the 70s, 80s, but I would say Earl. Obviously Earl, and I could never see Earl in anywhere. From the 4 spot in the team, he had to be the anchor probably.
Sure.
And then also, I would go with Petey, as well in the 80s. He could obviously fit in, since he's still bowling. He could still fit in anywhere.
Absolutely.
And then in the 90s, I got to go with Norm, Norm Duke. And then from now, I guess it's obviously Jason Belmonte. But, and then there's also, who, if you bring somebody in off the bench, then you've got Parker and you've got, it's just, it goes on and on.
It's hard to pick.
It's a very difficult question.
That's a great answer though. You pick some name, and to hear the name Billy Hardwick and Butch Gerhardt, wow, that takes me back. That takes me back to when my dad used to take me to Madison Square Garden in the early 70s to watch those guys bowl then. But that was wow.
Yeah, it was quite an experience for an 18-year-old to be down there and just, Billy would take me these places, and it was just phenomenal, to be able to do that and win a little money. I hadn't bowled for more than a quarter a game up to that point, so it was quite interesting.
That's pretty good.
So was that young Mike Aulby a fiery competitor, or was he the same Mike Aulby that we saw on TV every week when we watched? That calm demeanor, no matter, you couldn't tell if he was winning or losing?
Yeah, I think once I got on tour, I think fiery, as far as fiery, meaning that, when I came out, I smacked my hands when I struck and things like that, which was, not that it was rare because Marshall was already out before me. So,
right.
He was one that was, kind of demonstrative in that way and reactive. And so, I didn't have that kind of reaction, but it was more towards, a good shot or something to that effect. And so, but I think I learned as time went on, you have to start dialing in when it's right to have that reaction so that you don't upset the next shot you're getting ready to throw. Like, if you look at some of the opportunities when you need a double in the 10th, well, the first one doesn't get you anything but the opportunity to get the second one. So,
right.
To waste all your energy on that first one, really doesn't. And you find that out by learning, by experiencing that. And so that was kind of to where I kind of evolved through the years. It became more of a kind of a low key thing, trying to keep maybe the emotions in check, because it's more of a marathon than it is a sprint.
Absolutely.
Sure thing. Yep, that's a great
Absolutely.
answer. Yeah, that really is a good answer. So, Mike, one of our friends in the bowling community said, "Please take my bowling question." So, Brian Bass wants to know, what was Mike Aulby's go-to ball? If you had to pick that one ball, what was your go-to ball?
Brian, for me, that's a tough one as well, because I was never. I mean, I was on Brunswick a couple times, and I was on shirt staffs, but I was never a straight ball staffer except for Brunswick once, 81, 82, and part of 83, and then about 96 and 97. So other than that, I could use whatever I wanted. So I started in the late 70s, so I just retired in 2004. So there are so many bowling balls that were out there. I mean, that did well. I mean, you go all the way back to my first title was a 5P blue white dot, that I won with, and then you go into the LT48s, and then you got the Beast was a big one for Columbia, the U dots, the
U dots,
Rhino Pro series, the Danger Zone series. There were so many great balls, and over the decades you have to try to adjust to whatever it worked, because they didn't work all the time. There was, when they started switching from urethane to reactive and all those, it all switched things up, and you had to relearn your game. So I was fortunate to be able to do that, and had a lot of great people behind me, equipment, ball reps. I mean, I got to work with Chuck, but listen to Chuck Gardner. He obviously knows how to handle his people, and let's face it, we can be very difficult on the lanes because of what's riding on it. The guys or girls are, they're trying to make money. It's their living. So he has to deal with the mental aspect as well as the actual, what the ball's doing on the lane. So he obviously has the right mentality for it and the knowledge for it. I had Dave Smart, Bill Hall. I mean, there were so many guys, Fred, there were so many people that helped me out. John Jowdy was one of the biggest ones for me.
Wow.
Yeah, John Jowdy.
John Jowdy.
With his cigar.
Great man. Great man.
Absolutely.
With the cigar, yeah, for sure. But wow, the U dot. Who didn't love the U dots, right?
Yeah.
U dot was a great ball.
They had some good ones.
They sure did. They sure did. So, Mike, 29 titles, including the Super Slam. First bowler to ever win the Super Slam.
Only him and Jason Belmonte.
Yeah. So that's a lot of wins. It's a lot of major wins. But if you had to pick one, what was your most memorable win?
See, you always ask me these questions where it really narrows it down. It makes it really. So, I mean, I used to get that question a lot. What was your favorite title? And I usually kind of gauged them in different ways. So I'll give you one in segments. How's that?
Perfect.
At first, therefore, the first title you win is obviously one that sticks out, to you in different ways. I mean, I was 19 years old. I'm at the PBA National Championships of Las Vegas. Next day's Father's Day. My dad's there, and I beat Earl Anthony for the title, and I get 7 years into the tournament of champions. So, I mean, that obviously sticks out as one of the big ones. And then you go to, the winning the tournament champions, which made the Triple Crown and the Grand Slam, and then I won the Touring Players Championship, which made the Super Slam. But I also shot 300 on television in Wichita at North Rock Lanes. Frank DeSocio, good friend of mine, and at their bowling center, and that was one of those things where you don't go out there and go, hey, I'm going to shoot 300 on TV one day. You might say, hey, I'm going to be a pro bowler, I'm going to win a title, but that was just one that never really, kind of was on my list or radar. And then to be able to do it, I mean, it was such a wonderful day. I mean, just to be able to do that. I mean, a lot of people don't know that Brunswick was offering $100,000 that day. So I actually won almost $150,000 that day with all the incentives. It was just a great day. And what's really kind of funny about it is, and it's a story that it's really a lot of people don't know about, but when I would make a television show, I would always drill a ball that was either hooked less than the one I used the most, or one that hooked more. So in case the TV lights affected it one way or the other, then I would have options. And as a leader, you get to come over in the middle of the show and take 4 shots. And I really didn't like the look I had. So when I came over to take my 4 shots for from right before my match, I switched balls to the ball I had drilled to if they hooked a little more. I threw 4 strikes with it. Shot 300. The ball's never seen the lane again. I retired. So that was a good one.
That's great.
Hey, so now I got to
kind of do the titles differently. It's because they all mean something different in a different way. But the Masters is that way too. I mean, the Masters is one I never really did well at. In the early part of my career, and then I ended up winning 3 and finished second in 1. So, but that was one that was just phenomenal. The Masters.
That's great.
That's really great. That's really great.
Hey, Mike, because I have to share it now. So
This was not
I
planned.
was saying, what
no,
was
this
not
wasn't
planned.
planned.
kind of worms did I open up, right?
Oh no, you didn't
No,
open
no,
up
no.
any worms.
No.
But this is 1989.
Yes.
I know where we're going. Slightly younger version. These are some of the toughest conditions I bowled on.
Wait, how many people can say they hooked it on linoleum?
Yeah, really.
You know, that was and that was a highlight of my career. One of those highlights. I mean, you know, when the Letterman show contacted the PBA about having a bowler on the Letterman show, they wanted a bowler who had never cashed before. So it was one of those things where the PBA really didn't want to use that as the background. So they said, well, you know, we've got a guy that's, you know, probably going to be bowler of the year this year. He's leading the tour and he's from Indianapolis, where you're from.
Right, in Indiana.
Well, David liked that idea, the fact that I was from Indy and that, you know, his mom still lives here. And so they bought into it. So when they called me and asked me to go, and I thought, you know, how bad am I going to get browbeat on this show? But I thought, you know, being from Indy, maybe, you know, he'll be nice to me. And which is exactly what happened. You know, I went out there and, you know, when I first came in the studio, I mean, he started talking to me about the city and, you know, the children's hospitals and just, you know, we had a good talk. And so then it came time to go out and check out the hallway. And so he said, look, we'll make it as realistic as it can be. Do you need sand? Do you need oil? What do you need on the linoleum? I said, well, just give me some practice balls and let me at least give it a shot and see how it goes. And so it was pretty difficult, really, because the softer you threw it, the more it hooked and it missed everything. The harder you threw it, it rolled out and faded off to the left and missed everything. So it got to be kind of, you know, I said, I need some more practice. I said, if you could move me up a little closer, I'll make sure I can get these things. He said, it wouldn't be realistic. We got to keep it realistic. So it was quite interesting. But we had to practice because they had to see how quickly it was going to be. You know, we did bowling pins, obviously, and they had to see how quickly they could clean up the different items that we were going to bowl against. So when they first set this up, they had light stands that had the lights to help them with lighting in the hallway. And then the guys were going to stand next to him. The guys were complaining. I said, you guys can't stand there. These bowling pins will break your legs. So they move a couple inches out of the way. I said, no, you don't get it. You got to be out of there. So they moved. I hit the pins and the lights went flying. You know, the stands that were on, took them all out. So then they realized, well, we got to hang the lights from the ceiling. So they did that. And then they got beer bottles out because they wanted to see how quickly you could clean that up. So I threw out the beer bottles and hit those, and they just exploded. They were pulling glass slivers out of the ceiling tiles.
What do you think was going to happen with beer bottles?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, it was crazy. And so when they rolled the ball back to you, then luckily about halfway, I realized it wasn't rolling smoothly and it had glass in it. So you kind of had to stop it with your foot, you know. So it was a blast. I mean, I never had so much fun in my life. And, you know, and then the next day, of course, you know, our next day we're flying home. Hey, weren't you the guy on Letterman? You know, all at the airport, every airport I went to, it was just unbelievable. You know, and I went 3 times. I was on 3 times.
That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he and I don't know if that was the specific one that was being asked about, but it's cool. I was a huge David Letterman fan.
Yes.
And throughout his career, he really was very friendly to bowling.
Yeah,
he loved bowling. And even towards the end, when they were throwing bowling balls off the roof.
Yeah.
With New Rochelle. They used to do it off a building in New Rochelle.
Yeah.
They threw watermelons. They would throw anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it always came back to bowling. So which was cool.
He had Dick Weber on once too.
Oh, he's had a lot.
Yeah, Dick did them. AMF and Dick did them outside on the street. They put lanes out on the street.
Yes.
Yeah, did them. It was awesome. Yeah. And I did the one in September, and then we did Christmas items, and then we did Easter items. So, my favorite one was the lighted choir boys, because when you hit them, their heads popped out. So it was
That's cool.
We would waste too much beer doing beer bottles.
No, can't do beer bottles.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a question from a friend, Mike. So this is something that's come up with every guest,
Yes.
every player, and I will say the opinions
Answers
been
are varied.
They vary,
yeah,
but they're
varied.
similar to an extent.
Yeah.
Mike, you've been around a long time, around the game. What's your opinion on the two-handed bowling movement, so to speak?
Right.
Well, I'd be in the hospital if I tried it. So it's not something I'm going to be doing anytime soon. I can tell you that. It's phenomenal what the people or the bowlers are able to do. I mean, watching Jason Belmonte. I mean, the accuracy, the power. I'm amazed every time he hits a pocket and doesn't strike. I mean, it's just phenomenal what I've been able to see and watch and what they're able to do. The amount of power and really what looks like. If you watch Simonson, a few of them, they don't really get the ball out on the approach or out on the lane that much. They drop a little shorter, but they're using urethane and then from the left side, Jessfer. I mean, holy smokes! I mean, it's phenomenal what they can do. It's like any other variation. I mean, let's face it. When Mark Roth in the '70s came out to bowl, I mean, he had everybody was bowling back then, going, "Oh no, what are we doing?" But it's just I mean, it's like Don McCune and the soaker. I mean, if it wasn't against the rules and it's not against the rules. I mean, I have no problem with any of it.
So good.
Don McCune, wasn't he a guy from your home state too?
Home state, yeah, northern Indiana. Yeah,
yeah, right. He's an Indiana guy. Yeah, I remember the Soka. Wow, I remember everybody talking about it. Yeah, back in the
for people remember what the Soka are. I'm talking about something a lot of people probably don't remember about, but
yeah,
I mean, it's just that to think about. We go back to if you remember in the early '80s when Mike Miller switched to one-handed.
Yes,
and just held it with no thumb.
Right.
Because Mike went from a guy that threw it fairly straight, was very accurate, made some match plays, top 24s and things like that, but never really was never really one that challenged for a title. And he went home and worked on this, no thumb and hold it down, and he won the PBA National Championship. And I can't remember what year it was, but it was in the '80s, and turned his game around totally. But with that delivery, there started to be some physical problems for people, some stress fractures and things that it didn't work with. Where the two-handers have, to me, I don't know of any, maybe there is, but there haven't really had any kind of those type of issues where it's detrimental or your career is shortened by it. But watching Jason and them, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Wow, this has been some trip for me going back in time. Billy Hardwick, Butch Gearhart, the Soka. Mike, this is great. I feel like I'm 10 years old again. This is great. Awesome.
Sometimes I wonder where do you store?
You have a lot of stuff in there.
I have, as my friends like to say, lots of useless information stored here. But it may be useless to them.
Right, but it's
something to me.
No.
Look, it's become very useful here on
Yeah,
Live from Rabs.
There's no way I'm going to remember that.
Anything related to bowling from when I was a kid, and my father first put me down with a star ball on the lane and said, right, the star ball, I think it was a 5-pounder. And
when he said go, you went.
And I went. And I have about the same amount of revs on the ball now, 50 years later.
As if you were using the star ball.
As some days I think I am throwing a star ball.
Do the Ronnie question there?
Yeah, Ronnie brought up a good question there too, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So a friend of ours, of one of our league mates here, our good friend Ronnie Ziegler, a friend of the show, a friend of the bowling community, wanted to know, is it true? And he said, didn't Chuck Gardner speak about this yesterday? I think he did, but I guess he did.
Yeah, the lefties.
He did. Okay, right. How did you guys feel about having your own place on tour? The lefties, did you guys feel like you and Mazza and Petraglia and Parker and all those guys, Devers, did you feel like you had your own little, like you guys had your own side of the tour?
Even Devers gets a mention.
Even
I have
Devers.
to say, good old
go.
Scott.
Even Devers.
Scotty is he's taken his career, from winning titles to major back surgeries and turned it into one of the best BPA people there is. Whether it's bowling proprietors. He runs our center so well. He's a good partner to have, and he dots the I's and crosses the T's like nobody I've ever seen. So he turned his career from one side of the lane to the other. I mean, unbelievable. But as far as lefties go, I mean, there were less of us. Obviously, the percentages are, I think, back in when I bowled, was probably 11 to 15% at the most. And I mean, it you kind of felt like you were by yourself at times. But to me, you know, I always worked hard every week, so it didn't really matter. Not that you wouldn't work hard, but you know, there's some weeks when you had a good opportunity, and some weeks when you didn't. And you know, I just continued to work as hard as I could, and I always felt, hey, if they're not talking about me, they're not worried about me. So that was the kind of the gist I took at it, you know. And you know, off the lanes, I mean, you know, most people got along pretty well anyway. So it just, you know, it's just while you're out there, and it was totally understandable to me. We're all trying to make a living for our families. So, you know, it was different though. I mean, there could be some times when it was not good. You know, when people would be mad because you're left-handed, or you know, or the lefties wouldn't have anything for a while, and it kind of come and go. But if you let that get into your head or let it bother you, you weren't going to be out very long.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that was Chuck's point, was that you had to have a certain mentality to deal with the inconsistency, more or less, of and be able to make it on tour. You know, you had to have a very strong mental game, and know that, you know, some weeks it's just not going to be there, and okay, I'm going to grind it out and do the best I can.
Yeah, and that's hard to do sometimes when it's not going well for you. So you know, it's very hard to do, but you continue to you know, work as hard as you could, practicing as much as you could. I mean, because you never knew, even if it was a condition that you didn't like, or you know, you weren't comfortable with, then you know, you worked on it during that time. So hopefully the next time you saw that, you had an opportunity. That's why for me, that's why I learned to try to play, you know, anywhere on the lane I could hit the pocket. I didn't care.
Wow, that's pretty good.
He didn't care.
No, but that's pretty good. You know, you can hit the pocket. I mean, that's great.
Hey, Naz, what did you bring in for show and tell today?
I had a PBA Tour 1988 official guide.
Hold it up for the people at home to see.
Yeah, they're not
show the cover. Show the cover.
Here is the cover.
Look, it's still in one piece.
Yes.
It's still in good shape. And there's the young Mike Aulby.
Oh, Naz.
Handsome as ever.
Let's get closer.
All right, go ahead.
Frank is going to bring it right up close for everybody to see. And back then, they used to do everything by A, B, C. It was all alphabetical.
Yes, it was all alphabetical.
So Mike was always on the
easy to
first page.
see him.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yep. Yeah, Mike was always on page 1 because they started with A. So Mike was
exactly. And so, you know, a tidbit to that, see, the logo that is actually on the cover was designed by my wife.
Really?
Oh, I didn't even know that. Look at that.
Wow. Look at that. That's cool.
It's cool.
That is really cool. We also have a book here from.
If you go back a few years earlier, then you can see what I look like with hair this long. So, you know, it's a little darker then.
I didn't have any of those. But.
Wow.
Craig Graham says hello, and he's looking forward to getting back to bowling. Here's another good question.
Mike, who was your favorite? Well, I have a feeling I know who he's going to say, but we're going to ask anyway. Who was your favorite roommate?
Well, I would say favorite is the word favorite is the problem here.
Yeah, who was your favorite roommate when you were on tour?
You know, I had several roommates actually, you know, through the years. You know, my first year on tour, I roomed with 2 or 3 different people, and then after they didn't make it on tour, then it was always Bob Hanley, who was the best man at my wedding. I was his best man. He was one of my best. He still is my best friend, and you know, one of the guys that we roomed with for years, along with Randy Lightfoot, and you know, of course, Steve and I roomed together when the wives weren't out, or you know, that, and you know, so had a lot. Ron Williams was one of Ron and I, and Mike Scroggins and Mark Scroggins. We roomed together, and so we've been very fortunate through the years. You know, that we had people who we were very compatible with. And that, you know, because that's what it's hugely important, because on the road, when things aren't going good or bad, those are the releases you need, that you know you're hanging with guys that not only have the talent but have the same desires that you have, and that's to make a living and win and be good. So that, you know, I never had to worry about, even when I came out at 18 years old, I didn't have to worry about you know, going to bars or any of the other things, any other distractions that you might have. So I've been fortunate through the years to be with good people all along.
Wow, that was some Hook and Bob Hanley back in the day. I remember. And Ron Williams was the first. Remember, for a couple of years there on the tour, they had the King of the Hill. And Ron, I think, was the first King of the Hill. I think he was the first. King.
Ron won like 6 or 7 weeks in a row. I was one of his victims, actually.
Yeah, that's right. They had the little crown, and I remember he was the King of the Hill.
He's a great guy. Ron's a great guy.
That's more information, Frank. That's stored here from back in the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
I
really
still talk. I talk to Bob. I talk to Bob Handley. At least 2 or 3 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I could sit here all day and talk about the bowlers from back then. You know what, Mike? How about a word match? I'll give you the name of a bowler. I'll throw out a name, and you give me one word to describe that bowler.
Well, you guys in this one anything, you guys make it hard.
Well, it's we are a top-rated show. So, okay, I'll start with Pete Weber.
Fierce.
John Gant.
Buzzsaw.
Right, the buzzsaw. Ernie Schlegel.
Distracting. Hey, now let me go back. So there was my one word, but Ernst and I, we go back a long ways because Ernie had the contour power grips. So and I was his right hand person on the tour, helped get the grips out to everybody, and so I knew Ernie pretty well. And then we were on the tournament committee and executive board for years. So while many people may not have Ernie in their plus column as in liking him, I mean I got along great with Ernie, and hey, the guy was a scrapper. I mean, on the lanes, it was unbelievable what he could do. But no, Ernie was a good guy.
Yeah, for sure. He actually
could be distracting though. However,
yeah. Well, some of the outfits that he wore were a little loud. He actually yelled at me once at Carolia Lanes. I went to watch. It was the top 24. It was the Friday. They just made the cut, I guess, down to 24. And as I was telling Mike earlier, I work at ABC. So I had the pass to go and watch. I took the day off of work. I went on Friday. And one of the guys back in the truck, Mike, I don't know if you remember Hector Casillion.
Sure. Yeah.
Hector Casillion. He was one of our tape guys. He said, Joe, let me take you back. I'll take you back to introduce you to some of the pro bowlers. I said, okay, great. So who's the first person, with my luck, sitting on one of the benches there, playing with his thumb hole, filing, whatever? Excuse me, Ernie, this is my friend Joe Calandrillo. He works at ABC. You're from ABC. He got up. You're from ABC? You people owe me a check for $5,000 from 1968. I said, no, not American Bowling Congress. American Broadcasting Company. We televised the show. Oh, I'm sorry. He was looking for money. Guy's funny.
He does not forget anything, Ernie.
No. So that was my first. I said, I finally get to go back there into the paddock area. The first guy had to be Ernie, and he tries to shake me down for money.
But look at the lasting impression he left, though. He left a lasting impression. He left a lasting impression.
Yes. Mike, this had to be, I want to say this was like 1991, 92. So, yeah, it left quite an impression, for sure. Yeah. So I'm going to give you one more name from back in the past. Eric Forkel.
Winner. I mean, he found ways to win, I haven't talked to Eric in many years, but he was one that was always finding a way to get there.
Wow.
You couldn't count him out.
And the last question, not to do with bowling. As I said earlier, I have my New York Islanders hat on.
Yes.
For you today, because we're both Islander fans. How did a guy from Indiana become a New York Islanders fan?
Well, we were fortunate here in Indianapolis in the Central Hockey League to have their main farm team in the early 80s. When they were winning cups, we were winning the CHL Cups down here, the Adams Cups down here. So, and I would go to watch them practice, and then some of them would come practice bowling with me. Rob Holland was a guy who came from Pittsburgh, but he was one of their goalies along with Kelly Rudy.
Wow.
Kevin Devine, matter of fact, a good friend of mine who's still in town here in Indy, and is very good friend of mine, is Monty Trache, the younger brother of Brian. So, and we see Brian usually once a year. He comes in, and so we see Brian Trache, and then I would also go out. If you remember, was it Sheridan Lanes?
Sure.
John Caprice. They would always have the Big Brothers and Big Sisters event, and they would always ask me to come in, which was just, tell me when and where, I'll be there for that. So I still have the bowling pins that they all signed for me, and I have a jersey that Kelly Rudy and Brent Sutter gave me in like the early 80s, and all that. But no, Islanders fan forever.
Wow, that's
we
great.
Came back to we took a spring break trip with my kids, my wife out there. We went to the Hockey Hall of Fame, but we stopped in New York and on the island and watched of course, you got to watch the Rangers play the Islanders.
Oh, yes.
At Coliseum. So that was the game we watched. So it was great.
That's, you know what, Mike? The next time you come by, you and I will go to an Islander game together.
Hey, sounds good. New place maybe by then, right?
That's right, for sure. Yeah, Belmont. Yep.
Thank God.
Yeah.
The
I know.
Coliseum.
The Coliseum is outside of that one paint job that they gave it. It's about the same place since 1972. Yeah.
Sadly, us Mets fans said that about Shea Stadium
well,
for a while.
Yeah. But you hold it close to your heart.
Hey, Mike. So Nancy Shank dropped in, and so she was saying, "Great guy, love you." But I know the end of May, we would have been headed out to Las Vegas for the Bowling Hall of Fame extravaganza, and so sadly, we won't have that event this year. And you're the chairman of the board for the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame. Talk about what's happening at the Hall of Fame. What are you guys up to at the moment?
First off, hi Nancy. Hope you guys are all well, and thank you for saying hello. And I enjoy photography. I don't you all know that, maybe not. But one of my favorite pictures is taking a picture of Nancy in the NASCAR booth at the NASCAR race in Kansas with her and Jeff Gordon and Darrell Waltrip, and that was one of my most favorite pictures I've taken. So, cool. But as far as the museum goes, I mean, we've been shut down since mid-March. As you know, the campus is closed as well, with Texas doing essential businesses only. Our two staff members, Carrie Smith is our curator, so they're working from home. We're still keeping track of people. We're doing as much as we can for our live you can see our virtual vault, which has some of our items online that you can look at, which is kind of what we're gearing to do more of. But we had our big fundraiser in January, which was the PBA Hall of Fame Classic, thanks to Tom Clark. And so we raised some good money there. Bill O'Neill won with a 300 game. So it was a great event for us. But then, all of our fundraisers now are not going to happen. So we're looking at how we're going to go about that. There's many more important funds out there than ours. So we want to try to find a way to help people get to the money to the people that need it. And, we'll survive and do that. But we want to continue to try to help the industry out. So, but the extravaganza, as you know, is one of the greatest events there is. Fun events. It's a good fundraiser for us, but it's like no other bowling event where your scores won't be good and there'll be a lot of laughs. So I'll say that. And but the money and prizes are good. So, but we will have that again next year, and looking forward to it. And of course, our $20 raffle tickets that we won't sell at Bowl Expo, but we're just looking forward to seeing all our friends in bowling somewhere in the future together.
Yeah, Joe, the extravaganza.
Joe should come. Yeah,
I think he's underplaying that.
Really?
It's probably the funnest.
Really?
I'm going to coin that term. The funnest bowling event you can go to. You sit there, okay, and there's a game. Every game is a new game,
like the 40 frame game, sort of. Or?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get as many pins down without hitting the head pin.
Oh, okay.
You gotta odds only, evens only,
really?
And then of course every year, Mike and the team come up with some cuckoo things, but it's fun, and you grab a partner and you go.
I may have to partake.
It supports the Hall of Fame, and
between John Lozito and Nancy and Scott and Scott Devers and Scott McLaughlin. I mean, it's a great group out there that they come up with these events, but it's a great event. It's at the Red Rock. It's a beautiful facility. Dennis Matthews out there takes great care of us, and nice demonstration by a couple of the Hall of Famers, which is usually Johnny Petraglia, Wendy McPherson, and Bob Hart, and sometimes myself. And I mean, it's just a great event. And you can bet when it's an odd game, you usually get an even. But I think John Lozito has a little bit of tendency of just trying to find something that that nobody's ever heard of before, and he does a great job of it. But Naz and Joe, you guys should all come out. I mean, it's worth a trip.
I think we may have to.
It's a doubles event.
Yeah, I keep telling Grandpa Jim that I'm going to take him to that event. And sadly, the last few years, it coincides with the state meeting that we go to. So I said to him, we're going to go to Vegas instead of going to a meeting at some point. He goes, okay. I didn't even, that wasn't a question. But then he goes, no, we have to go to the meeting. I'm like, all right. So we go to the meeting. The last time I bowled with Brian Borowski, proprietor from Buffalo, New York. And to Mike's point, odds, I would only get evens.
Really?
Yeah. So the joke was sevens, and we constantly only got sevens. So anytime I see Brian, it's 7. It's a good time. Hey, and you had the museum had a campaign recently, and I think this is really cool. They've got some old. You want to talk about some old video that you guys have were protecting?
Yeah, it's frame for frame, and we have a lot of videotape that was donated by Eddie Elias. It was back in the old bowling shows, not necessarily the ABC shows, but prior to that, and a lot of the matches between the old Hall of Famers from the 50s and that, and I've learned a lot more about it. I mean, it's called the vinegar effect. So these these videos are inside the tape is inside these reel-to-reel tapes, and they disintegrate, and basically they smell like vinegar, and you lose them forever. So we're raising money so that we can redo these tapes before we lose them. So that's kind of one of the programs that's up front that we're trying to get taken care of.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. They got some great footage from the years. And so if anybody hasn't gone down to what you could call the Dallas sports mecca, because you've got the Jerry Dome, the Cowboys,
Right. Yep.
you've got the Rangers, and they're
Texas Rangers, the
new.
Six Flags, yeah.
Mike, I don't know your opinion, but that new stadium is pretty ugly.
Oh yeah, it's big.
They have this beautiful old school, and it's not really old. Like that was one of the first modern day ballparks.
Yeah, the ballpark from Arlington.
Yeah.
Ballpark
So now they're
Arlington,
building them a new ballpark,
really?
and it is hideous.
Really?
It's got this retractable roof that comes off sideways.
Oh,
it's this
no.
big silver. Anyway,
Oh.
if you find you're down there, the bowling campus, Mike said, is right there, and you go check out the Hall of Fame in its new home. I would say since 2000, 2009. We moved down there in 2009, I think.
It's been 10 years. I think we've been there.
Yeah.
10 years. Yeah.
You gotta make sure you check it out.
We have cousins that live in Houston, so we may have to visit.
Nice little drive
Yeah.
up north.
Yeah.
North?
North. I think it's
Yeah.
north. Yeah.
Six Flags across the street.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All right.
it's a cool
Okay.
place. Mike, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, it's been a blast. I mean, you guys do such a great job for, especially for your bowlers, but the industry, it's just, we greatly, Frankie, you've donated your time so many years, and it's been so thankful. And, when I watched yesterday, I mean, just to watch the emotion in you guys talking about your league bowlers and the things that are going on there. And I know it's difficult, but thank you for what you do. And because you do it out of passion, and it's obvious. And thank you so much for having me on. Hey, where else can you have more fun than talking bowling, right?
There you go.
Perfect. That was great, Mike.
Right here.
Yeah, I mean,
Right
trip.
here.
It was a trip down memory lane for me. I want to thank you for that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Any last questions for Mike before we let him go?
I have one.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
one. So, Mike, everybody knows you have a bowling center, but
Yes.
you also have 2 skating rinks.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's your connection to skating?
It actually goes back to the early 80s when the Islanders farm team was here, and I got into hockey and got to know a lot of the people. And then when my son got to be age to play, then he played all the way through high school, and then played a little bit of club hockey. And then my daughter played all the way through almost to high school, but she had too many concussions, so she's retired. But just big hockey fans. And so, the ice rink industry is very similar to the bowling industry. Unfortunately, it's seasonal like the bowling industry, but there's leagues, there's snack bars, there's pro shops, open skating, open play, very, very similar in a lot of ways. As Lenny Nicholson, the lane man on the tour, I used to tell him, that's the big difference is the lane maintenance and the ice maintenance, because the figure skaters like to have the ice softer so they can do their jumps, and the hockey players like the hard and go faster. So there's always something, and Lenny loved that story. But it's that's the big difference is those two things. But otherwise, they're fairly similar actually. And so once I retired from the tour, I had the opportunity to go into a couple of them here, and so that's what we do.
All right.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's cool.
I was curious.
That's a good question.
I'm going to pre-warn you in case you get an email or a text message from Amy Arcuri. She was watching. Specifically, she had caught the use of the C word. Just saying.
And then I backed it up, Amy.
You did.
I thought the minute I thought about whose picture popped in my head was Amy's, so I had to come back real quick. And I apologize for that.
She winces. Really? Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's Pepsi. Pepsi, the official
soft drink.
drink of bowling.
Yep.
Official soft drink.
Yeah.
So our friend Amy, you better watch out.
They had trouble with that in the draft the other night. Sean Payton did that too. So, but he actually had the product sitting there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's a different story. Totally different ball game, right?
Totally.
Mike, thanks again. You're a rock star. We really appreciate you jumping in with us.
It was a blast. Thanks for having me anytime, and good luck to you guys. And look forward to seeing us somewhere all together at something where we can all bowl and have a good time as well.
That would be great.
That sounds
Thank
great.
you, and good luck.
Everybody for watching too. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, good
Good
luck.
luck to you
We'll talk
guys,
to you
too.
soon. Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that was great.
The one and only,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, Mike
that's-
Aulby.
Now, I want
Where
to.
else but here?
Well, only
Where else but
because we
here?
keep it real. We
do
keep it real. I have to apologize to our producer Liz because I've talked about the Islanders too much today. I know
It's okay.
She's a Ranger fan.
Liz is a diehard Ranger fan,
I'll let it go.
As is Marco. So I know everybody's going to give me a little bit of a hard time when they see me again for talking so much Islanders. There's a lot of Ranger fans out there, but there are a few of us Islander fans too. So, and I couldn't let Mike Aulby go without that.
No, I think it's great.
I mean,
we enjoy going to the Garden. I mean, the Garden's a special place.
I'm an Islander fan, and I love going to the Garden more than any place. So there's no doubt.
And there really is nothing like watching live hockey.
Yeah, it's the best.
Even basketball. And I'm not a huge basketball or hockey fan. I follow a little bit.
Yeah.
But to go and watch, I can't watch basketball on TV.
No,
I have a hard time watching basketball on TV.
Yeah, when you go to a Knick game, it's great.
Oh, in person?
Yeah.
Oh. And even going to the Barclays Center to go watch the Nets.
Absolutely.
That place is cool.
Good for basketball. Not good for hockey. Good for
don't overspend money on that L&B pizza. I love L&B.
Yeah,
but to buy it for $10 a slice there. No.
That's a cardboard version. No.
And they got all these flavors of Brooklyn. So it's definitely cool.
Yep.
So we got to get to the Garden at some point.
Yeah. Well, when it opens up again, hopefully.
I was there last for Billy Joel.
Billy Joel. Yeah, Billy's on pause.
Yeah, he's on
Billy's
pause.
on pause
He's
too.
on pause too.
Hey,
And we were supposed to go to see Elton John.
Yeah, that's right.
Either last week or this coming week. He was scheduled to be.
you got coronaed.
Yeah. I think he's paused for good though, right? He was retiring. Isn't it?
Well,
He may come back,
this
though.
isn't his first retirement.
that's
This is right. It's not his first swan
That's
song.
true. Yeah,
But I did see some talk about his performance on
the One
the
World.
last. No, it wasn't
Not
the
One
one.
It was the one before, right?
It was the one. The last one.
Where he didn't have the piano, but he had a piano.
Oh, right.
It was the one he did after that.
Oh, the One World.
That some people were saying he maybe didn't sound so
Yeah.
good.
Well, he's getting there. I mean,
But yeah, so
what do people expect? I mean,
We didn't ask Mike. Dennis Constantino mentioned bowling on ice. That sounds interesting. We didn't ask Mike if he's got any curling teams.
oh yeah,
Anybody that plays the curls in there.
we're gonna have to have him come back.
We're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Next time I see Mike, I'm gonna
We'll
have to
have
ask
to-
him.
yeah, we'll
Mike
have to bring
Aulby,
that up.
he's like one of my childhood.
yeah,
I when I think of the Pro Tour when I was
exactly.
a kid,
Yeah,
definitely Mike Aulby. He's one of the top.
Yeah.
top.
definitely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, it seemed like he was on TV every other week.
Yeah, yeah.
right? So without a doubt.
So Naz,
Yeah.
we have the pet of the day.
Oh,
Oh,
I
we have one
believe
today.
it's a multiple.
Oh,
This is a multiple.
okay.
So this comes from Joni Pesolano. Joe, excuse us for a moment, but we're going to cover you.
No problem. It's all good.
And so this came from our friend Joni Pesolano. And now I have a little problem with this.
Wow.
So it's not just the pets; it's the pet family of the day.
Yeah, that's a wow.
Her husband's in there.
Right. Well,
I'm
that's the
assuming
problem.
that's Shrek. I'm
She
assuming
calls
that's-
her husband Shrek.
Okay.
So now the pets of the day include husbands now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch that one.
I would never call him Shrek. I kind of laughed about it the other day when I said that because that's what she
I
calls him.
see she has a lizard too.
Yeah, that's
Spiky.
spiky. That's pretty cool.
Maybe we can hook up her lizard with Dennis Constantino's lizard.
You want to
Yeah.
meet them?
No, we could have some kind of race.
Like a race. Like
Well, we
Kevin
had guinea
with
pig-
the-
we
with
had
the
guinea pig
we
races
already had
here.
the guinea pig.
Or the
race.
Italian pigs, as Kevin
Yeah.
called them. Yeah.
So we got Killer, Spiky, Tallulah,
Oh,
and
that would be a
Penelope.
long-
Yeah. Tallulah and Penelope look pretty
And
tired.
I don't think Psycho Kitty is the kitty's name, but that's what she calls him.
Yeah. Beautiful
It
cat,
is.
though.
That's-
Beautiful
Is
cat.
that the cat's name?
I think-
Hashtag Psycho Kitty.
I think that might be the cat's name.
Wow.
That's
That's pretty cool.
I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't surprise me at all.
That's like a mini zoo.
I was
Over
going to
there.
say they give the Rorks a run for the money.
Absolutely. We may have a new animal kingdom on Staten Island. I don't know. It's close. Even the Rorks are run for their money.
That bird is really pretty. I don't know what kind of bird that is.
Yeah.
Joni, what
That's
kind
a
of bird?
parakeet, I think.
Is it a parakeet?
I think it's-
Killer.
Wow.
It looked like a parakeet.
Yeah, that's really cute.
That's cool.
And of course, it wouldn't be a show without Nez. You ready for this?
I see it.
Our meme of the day.
It's a good one.
This is a good one.
That's the line to buy thumb tape and get weight holes plugged the moment the lockdown is lifted.
The line goes long, my friends. Long line.
So it's not just the tape. We're talking about weight holes now.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk to Jimmy. I think maybe we will make tape available on our Facebook page.
Oh, there you go. Good thinking.
Whoa.
Good thinking.
Wow.
Maybe we could have it so we could put it directly into your locker so that when you come in, it's already going to be in
You don't
your
have to get
locker.
online. You don't
Wow.
have to be
Yeah.
out.
Free
That's cool.
delivery.
Yeah.
Free
Yeah,
delivery.
free
Free
delivery.
delivery.
Wow.
All right. So you heard it here
Delivery to
first.
your locker.
If
Wow.
you need bowler's tape and you don't have any in your equipment, it's going to be offered.
I like
We're
it.
not going to ask Jimmy. It's just going to happen. Naz, you got to make it happen.
Yeah,
now.
what can make it
So you
happen?
got to go to the Country Pro Shopping Awards Center Facebook page.
That's cool.
You could place an order through Nazareth and Liz and Jimmy for some bowler's tape,
That's great.
and Ray is going to deliver them to your lockers with a signed note.
Which he just found out about, by the way.
Yeah, this is the best time to come. And you know what? Hey, Jimmy would be happy to ship it to you, John. Jimmy's
Yeah.
been, it could be shipping bowling balls, and
That
he'll
is
ship.
cool.
Here's our delivery guy.
Here's the
right
delivery
here.
guy. He just
If
made
we
it.
could, if we could mail it,
Nobody knows their locker
don't
number?
worry about that.
That's okay.
I was gonna say I want to know 50% of the bowlers don't know their locker.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
they
for
know
sure.
where it
That's
is,
for
but
sure.
they don't know the number.
I love when
Amen, Liz.
I love when
Yes.
Jimmy comes to the desk.
4 rows in, 3 down.
Yeah, you're right. Next to the snack bar, 3 rows in, 4 rows down.
That's right.
Uh,
Good point.
Jimmy comes up to the counter all the time and then says, "Hey, can you look up a locker number for me?" You know what? I just should give him a list so
Yeah.
that he has it, but he's got to get the key. And of course, everybody says hi to Ray.
That's cool.
So you heard it. Check out that delivery
That's
service,
like a early. That's Christmas comes early.
and you don't have to wait online.
I like
now
it.
you're gonna have to wait online because you're
It's-
gonna want your bowl
Well,
cleaned.
of
You want to
course,
get to
of
see
course.
Jimmy and
Yeah,
Ray,
of
and you
course.
want to go through the whole experience
Wow, that's
and
cool.
complain about the lanes because that's
Wow.
what you
Who
do in the pro
complains
shop.
about the lanes?
Right.
Oh,
And you would hope that maybe when people are going to be so happy to
That's
be
true.
back
That's true.
that they're just not. It's not even going to make a difference.
I'll keep it to a minimum.
Maybe. Maybe for a week or
maybe.
two.
We can leave the lanes like they
Like
are right
this?
now.
Yeah, that's yes.
We might ruin the lanes if we do.
Oh, boy.
They're toast.
Oh boy. But I like that idea. That's like a stocking stuffer in everybody's locker with the tape. I like it. That's a great idea. Awesome.
Or you could be anything. They could need other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
This is
Rosin bags.
Rosin bags.
Uber for bowling.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
accessories.
There it is. Watch our Facebook page over the weekend. We're going to set that
And
up.
if you see anybody else doing it, you know it happens
You heard
here
it here first.
on
I have
Live
more
from
breaking
Rabs
news.
first.
More
Oh,
breaking news.
Joe, breaking news.
I just gave it a name. You heard of DoorDash? This is Lockadash.
Locker dash.
How do you like it? As Rocky Slimmo would say, how do you like it? Lockadash. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it, Joe.
Yeah.
I like it.
Lockadash. We're in.
Locker Dash.
Good.
Joe
So
had
good.
breaking news.
Breaking news.
I like
Yep,
that.
Heard
But
it here first.
It does. You hear it here first. Lots of things happen. And so one of the other things that happens here on Live from Rabs, not only did we just launch Locker Dash, an Uber service, delivery service,
Wildest.
to deliver accessories to your locker while you're out.
Yeah.
We launched Rabs Got Talent, Joe.
I heard about that.
So
I heard.
It's live, and we are
Yeah.
accepting entries through May 15th.
yeah.
We want you to show off your talents,
That would be great.
whatever they might be.
Yeah. Can I be one of the judges on that?
So it's good. So here, this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
They're going to submit their videos.
Okay.
We're going to review them,
Perfect.
and then there's going to be a voting period.
I like it.
And then the voting period, the general public, all of America,
Wow. That's
gets
cool.
to vote.
All of America.
I like it.
absolutely.
All of America could go to the Rabs Country Lanes
I
Facebook
like it.
page, and will be able to vote on their favorite talent, their favorite bowler
Great
with the
idea.
amazing talent.
Yep.
And there's some elusive prizes that we're going to give, including a trophy,
Oh,
A
that's
sizable
a
trophy.
sizable trophy.
Who wouldn't want that?
And then they're going to
I mean,
appear
come on.
here on Live
Yeah.
from Rabs.
Yeah.
So you never know.
I think it's a great idea. You know, having done stand-up comedy back in my previous life many years ago,
Well, Joe, I think you should submit.
if I'm a judge, I can't submit. Well,
Well, you're going to vote for it. We're not really judging. We're going to have a voting
Well,
is the American
Voting.
public.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, it's been a while since I did my stand-up comedy. I'm going
Well,
back
you
a
have
long
plenty
time.
of time to go home and practice.
That's true. I
Joe.
could do my impressions of all my gangster movies, and I do the
There it
impressions
is.
like Paulie Walnuts on The Sopranos.
You
and
do them here too.
I do them here. I do Al Pacino in Carlito's Way with Benny Blanco from the Bronx. The girl Steffi belongs to the club, and I mean, if I ever see you here again, you die, just like that. So,
And your best impression of Amleto Monticelli?
Nazareth I am from Barquisimeto, Venezuela, and I want to open up a nightclub with a bowling alley in the basement for my friend Nazareth.
Oh no, but his best imitation was frowned upon, unfortunately, by Jason Belmonte.
Oh yeah, that I didn't have my Australian.
He
I
didn't
gotta
have the
say,
Australian.
I don't have. It's tough for a Brooklyn guy. I mean, I could do some
Well, you have
accents, but
You have time.
Australian
Time
is.
now.
I don't really do the Australian. I kind of have to work on it, I
Yeah,
guess.
you got time.
We
Yeah.
just start with the witches hats.
Yeah, we could say, "What's that, mates?" We call them witches' hats.
Yeah, you're back to the English.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't. I'm back to the British.
I felt like I just watched.
Yeah,
I was watching
it's-
The Crown last
yeah.
night. You just entered. It made me feel like I
Yeah.
was still watching.
That was
TV.
more like an Ian Poulter from the PGA Tour.
You got the
Yeah.
English though. You got the English.
I
accent,
do have
though.
the English down. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I'm not very good at those.
I could do the impressions. I
Yeah.
can't do much else, but I could do the impressions. So, but yeah,
Don't give up your day job.
No,
Joe.
I hope not. Yeah, until they want to get rid of me.
Oh, and you're right. You could just throw in a few mates.
He tried
mean,
that.
but it didn't
He
work.
tried
I
it.
It still
with-
sounded
yes,
English.
He
wasn't-
couldn't
yeah.
get it past Belmonte.
And Belmonte
Yeah.
just like, what?
Yeah, he was like, no,
He
that,
called you
that's-
right
Cool,
out.
you Scottish?
Yeah, he called
that
me
what he said, the
Scottish. Yeah, like
Scottish
Scottish. I don't know.
I have to say, Ryan Legg does some really
Oh,
good
he does.
impressions.
Ryan Legg.
Well,
has it in
we're
his
gonna have to
lineage.
poke him.
It's in his lineage, though. It's in the bloodline. But
We'll
yeah,
poke
he-
him to be on
Yeah.
our on a talent because we remember we did the Pirate Day.
yeah,
We would talk like a Pirate Day here. He was all in on
yeah.
that.
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
with
but he
it.
spent his
good.
whole
He's very
shift
good.
talking like a pirate.
Yeah.
And Monday nights would be bowl with or without alcohol.
Yeah,
You just go up to him and go Scottish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll go right into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
very good.
Like if you've seen those TikToks, and
Yeah.
I caught Naz on TikTok before. She's down here. I don't know where you were sitting. Where were you
I
sitting?
was right there.
So you were sitting behind lanes 33 and 34, and I'm at my desk in the office, and I hear the music, and I know the music because they're all the same.
Yeah,
they all
they're
sound the same.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
They're all the same. And I caught Naz on TikTok. Now I was hoping to come out of the office and start seeing her, film or something.
Oh no! We're setting up a TikTok. I need a partner in crime there, but I think I'm going to speak to them later today and see if we can.
Oh, there you go.
I got to find
On the
them.
TikToks, there's a couple of them that do the
Oh, really?
impersonations, and they just basically say, "Go." And
Oh,
the
really?
Kids do it.
Okay,
Yeah,
I could have Jill set me up with that. She's good
Oh,
with all
you
that
should-
stuff.
Oh,
They warned me about TikTok,
Yeah,
about watching it.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah,
I don't have time for that. Well,
yeah.
I
You have to make
found
the time. Yeah, you
I
have to
found
make-
it.
Yeah.
It just magically.
There you go. Yeah,
I told you, people spend at least an hour a day scrolling.
Yeah.
For advertisers, that's gold.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to ruin it for
Well,
our
because
kids, but yes,
You know what I think?
gold.
There's not a lot of advertising in there.
No.
I mean, it just
Subtle.
kind of
Yeah.
it's subtle.
They are
whatever
TikToks.
few-
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I got to talk to my daughter.
Joe, you know who's famous on TikTok?
Who's famous?
Grandpas and dads.
Oh yeah.
Really?
The
And
older
I could
people are-
see like a Papa Joe or a Brooklyn Joe
Really?
with a TikTok, and Jill can make
Oh,
you
she'll-
TikTok
No,
famous.
she'll make that up for me with no problem. I saw my buddy Joe Bruno had a TikTok
Uh-oh.
yesterday or the day before.
Did
Yeah,
I
he did.
didn't know
We have to check that out.
He
The
did.
kid- It's amazing. So now the kids are home and they get
Yeah.
you in trouble.
Oh yeah, I'm sure his sons did that to him. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. Yeah.
But there's a new one. This is one family, Dino Dad. I think they basically, the guy goes nuts. As
Really?
long as they call Dino Dad or whatever they
Really?
say, he turns into a dinosaur. And if there's food on the table, he flips it. He's all in. He
Oh.
is all in.
Really?
Yeah, and
Does he do the thing with the short arms?
yeah, he does the whole thing. The head in the table.
Some people
The
go a
whole
little
thing.
too far.
And
but,
they were calling his wife a Karen
really?
because she's the first one to say,
Right.
"Come on."
Right.
And then now the joke is, I'm not a Karen. So you have mom that insists that she's not a Karen, and then you have Dinosaur Dad doing
Wow.
whatever he's
I
doing.
I
may
used
have
to
to look
like
him
on
up.
Facebook. They used to have Fat Dad.
Bad Dad.
Fat Dad.
He's still
I
around.
haven't seen them.
Bad
any
Dad. He's
videos
good.
or anything.
In the mask.
He was very funny.
What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
think I
used
saw
to
him.
annoy his. He used to really annoy his family,
I can't
which I
imagine
think was very funny.
in this whole right now
Oh,
being
yeah.
locked up.
All those
Yeah.
people locked up
Oh
together.
my Bad Dad. He probably has some good. He may have come back now.
Maybe I'm
Through
gonna check
this.
it out. I haven't looked.
And then you got the Ebby family.
I see John brought up a good point about Ryan Legg. He wears a skirt to play golf.
Yes, he does.
They wear
It's
the
not a
kilts.
skirt.
No, at the outings,
It's a
they wear the
kilt.
kilt.
It's a
Yeah,
kilt.
the John calls it a skirt.
Best
but
dressed.
yes,
Best dressed award for like
the
5
Legg
years
family.
straight.
Yeah, they wear the kilts. They put the little tam o' shanter on, and
They were a little weak
Cool.
last
Yeah.
year. I don't think they was the year last year they didn't dress up or the year before.
their
Last
outfits
year
weren't delivered.
They didn't.
They
Well,
weren't
they
delivered.
also last year Milton didn't. Play.
Right, Milton.
Oh,
didn't
that's
play.
right. So they didn't have the gang.
charge
Right.
about Milton.
They didn't have their fourth.
Well, we'll have to look forward to the
Yeah, they wore-
2021
that's it.
golf outing.
Was that the year they wore the matching shirts? Like each of them wore a different
Yeah.
sherbet colored
Yeah, like a
shirt.
sherbet color. Yeah, you're right. That's
Sherbet
right.
colored.
It was
Yeah.
sherbet.
They got some wild golf outfits. The Legg
Sherbet.
family.
What's your favorite sherbet flavor?
sherbet. Creamsicle.
Joe?
Coconut.
I'm a lime
Oh,
guy.
he didn't even hesitate.
Didn't hesitate.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
coconut. Without a doubt.
I like creamsicle.
Or even like the one that comes from the supermarket, which is the one that's got loaded with sugar and
Oh yeah,
fat.
that's- yeah.
But it's got all three flavors: orange.
Yeah,
it's
that's-
got,
How that's
I might have to
FDA
pick some
passed,
up on
I
my
was
way
a kid.
home.
Yeah, but-
oh, Tommy Valero.
Hi, Valero.
How you feeling, Tom?
And Joe, I saw popped in. We've been thinking about you and hope that you guys are feeling well.
Yes. We saw they posted a picture on draft night. They were all ready to go.
Oh,
The
cool.
Jets fans.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jets. Jets.
Jets.
Oh.
Yes.
So, hey, it's been a great Saturday
Yeah,
afternoon.
awesome.
Joe, thanks for coming back to the studio.
Oh, my
we'll
pleasure.
do this again.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Sunday. We're going to kick
Tomorrow
off
is
a new
Sunday.
week.
New
Ness,
week.
who's here with us tomorrow?
Tomorrow we have Joe Laverty, former Advance writer, former Staten Island Parent writer,
Yeah.
and currently I believe he's writing for the Federation of Teachers newspaper
that's right.
or newsletter.
nice.
I believe that's what he's doing.
And fellow Mets fan.
And
UFT.
he's a
Oh,
big
yeah,
Mets
I know he's a
fan.
Mets fan. Yeah.
Which put him over the top. So, and then Dr. Victor Dolan's going to be joining us tomorrow. He's always interesting to speak
Yeah,
to.
sure.
Interesting and animated.
He's very animated, and
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to have. I've given him strict instructions, no politics.
Yeah, no.
And he'll be talking to us, giving us some maybe updates of things we can do to keep ourselves healthy.
Yep.
And
Virtual adjustment. There you go.
and feeling good. Not only through what we're going through now, but all the time.
He's definitely a character, and he's got some great information. Also, we'll talk to him about it. He's also on the Team USA group of doctors.
Oh, nice.
Has
Yeah.
traveled with Team USA over the years.
Yes, he has.
He's
And
right down the block.
He's also a assistant medical person for Curtis High School. I know he helps
Oh,
them.
wow.
He's present at all their games, and he does that stuff. Oh, and the police and firemen when they have a
Yeah.
football game.
Oh, they
he's-
do. Yeah, they have a huge game
Yep.
every year.
He's
Yeah.
there for that too.
And he's gotten back into bowling.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Well, one of his grandchildren is very interested in it. So you know what that means.
And it's been fun. So tomorrow we've got a great show. We've got Joe Laverty and Dr. Dolan.
Joe Labargo knows.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Joe says, "Oh no, Victor," and Kevin wrote, "Sorry to hear that." Also this week, we've throughout the week we've got some other great guests.
Yeah.
Joanne Gerenzer from Eden 2 is going
Oh.
to join us.
You know Joanne well.
Yes.
When it, golfer.
Golfer. Female golfer. yes.
She's
Very good.
awesome. She's
Yeah.
going to talk a little bit about what's going on at Eden 2, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about our community. Our weekly check-in with Pamela Silvestri. Pamela Silvestri.
Yeah.
Dr. Dean Naz.
Melissa, are you listening? Dr. Dean is going to be here. I believe he's going to be here on Friday.
Oh, that's cool.
He is still teaching, so we kind of put our change our schedule around to accommodate him. But it will be regular time on Friday, and he is a wealth of information, and I'm really looking forward
Wow,
to him
that's
being
cool.
here.
Bowling psychiatrist, bowling psychologist. What do you want
sports
to call him?
Sports
psychologist,
psychologist. Yeah, right.
And he's great. If you haven't heard of him, go to YouTube, Google him,
Yeah.
check out some of his videos because he's spot on.
Wow, that's
Spot
cool.
on.
Hey,
And
and breaking news, you heard it here yesterday. We asked Chuck. Chuck said yes. Put me in touch with Dasha, and on Tuesday, Dasha Kovalova is going to be here with
Very
us.
nice.
it's the way things happen here.
Queens champion, 300. Did you watch that?
I did
show?
not watch it, but I'm going to go back. and
Joe,
watch
need
it.
to go watch
I'm
that
gonna watch it.
telecast.
I
She
did
bowled a
not watch it.
300 game against
I'm
Liz
gonna-
Johnson.
I'm going to YouTube it. I'm going to
She's
watch
like
it.
she's a goat.
Yeah.
Liz.
I know
She's-
Liz is. Yeah. So I'm going to go back and
I
watch
don't.
that.
I like the phrase "greatest of all time,"
Yeah.
but I don't like the ghost.
Yeah. It's
Because every time I see it,
doesn't give
I
you a-
think they're calling somebody an actual goat,
right.
and then I have to look at the how they're using it,
Right.
the context of it, and I go, "Oh, they actually mean greatest of
But
all
in
time."
some cases, you look at you think about someone. So Walter Ray,
Right.
he's a goat.
Wow.
And you could take that in. He's an old guy. He's been out there for a long time.
No,
He's
but when I
greatest of
hear
all
that,
time.
yes, but I think of the Daily News
with the
The
goat.
hero and the goat
Yes,
in
what's
World
the,
Series.
who was the
with the World
artist
Series, Bill
that used to-
Gallo.
Yes,
He used to have
that's exactly
back
what
in
I
the
think of.
70s, the hero and the goat, and say when the Mets played the A's in 73,
And that's exactly
right?
what I'm
and you
thinking
get to
of.
say like the game one hero was maybe like, I don't know,
And they
John
used to have it on
Matlack.
the, it was on the back page.
Right, and he had the little like rose going through his teeth with a little. That was John Matlack, and the goat in game one was, I don't know, maybe Vita Blue, and he had the goat horns. Right,
You have amazing memory.
more useless information, folks, but thank you.
Again, you heard some more useless information here. And it was not a show about nothing,
No,
but
it
we
was
could
not.
easily make it a show
Yes,
about
we
nothing
could.
with all of that information. So we got a great week ahead of us, Naz. We're looking forward to this, Joe.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Joe, we want to see you back in the studio whenever you're ready.
Whenever you want to
can.
get here.
Whenever I
we're
could sneak
happy to have
away
you.
from WFH, working from home.
Yes.
Whenever I could sneak away from WFH and get here during the week, I will try. But it's been so busy even working from home. But I'll definitely be back next Saturday, God willing. So who do we have next Saturday? Do we have the Pro Bowler?
We do, but you're gonna have to wait this
Okay.
week to get that announcement.
Okay, all right.
So we can't give you everything.
No,
all
I
at one time, 'cause
listen.
we want you to be excited, and we
I-
want people to watch every day to see what's going to happen.
I'm already excited.
So
I don't
next
even know
week,
who it is.
another PBA
yeah,
uh,
a legend.
All Star.
Yeah.
Man,
Listen, I'm already. I don't care who it is. I'll be here. I'm ready. When I find out, I'll be
We're
ready to
still
go.
thumbing through this
Yes.
1988.
Yeah, we can start looking here.
Oh,
we may
God.
come up with somebody. You never
So-
know.
a
You
week
never
full of
know.
guests.
Yeah.
PWBA rock star this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
great.
awesome.
That's
Looking
great.
forward to it. We're going to talk more community, bowling,
Yeah, good stuff.
everything and anything,
Good stuff.
and nothing.
Everything like a culmination, a potpourri of everything.
Everything.
Well,
Yeah.
Joe, thanks for joining Naz and I again
My
today.
pleasure. My
We know
pleasure.
you'll be back. Please
yes.
come back as soon as possible.
I will do my best.
If you're watching, please continue to like, love, share. There's an angry face. Somebody hit the angry button. Pearl, I don't know what you were angry about, but I don't really like seeing that up on the screen.
Yeah, it's
Pearl hit it for some reason. Maybe she didn't like something we said, and we're sorry that we insulted you today.
Yeah,
Or maybe she's upset that we're still closed.
maybe.
She's angry.
Right.
I'm not going to take
Maybe
it
it's
personal.
just to say,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't take it
Yeah.
personal.
Unless she's made it.
But I know that was
That's
Pearl.
one
I
of the
was-
4 agreements is don't take it personal.
Yeah, that's right. You can't. You just can't.
If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. Be sure to like our page so you get that little notification that tells you that Naz and I are live from Inside Rabs. And we're looking forward to the rest of the week. Thank you, Mike. Mike, you're
Yeah, he was great.
He
Great.
was good.
He
was
was great.
good.
Yep.
We're so lucky.
Yeah, really.
well. We're so lucky. You want to know why, Naz? Because what do we do here?
We keep it real.
Keep it real.
That's
Keep
why.
it real.
That's why it works. That's why Mike was
It's
so
like
complimentary.
sitting around, having a Coke.
Yeah.
Can
A
I help?
Pepsi.
Chit-chat.
Can I help?
Having a what?
Having a
Can I
Pepsi.
help you?
Having a what? A Pepsi.
Having a Pepsi.
Pepsi. I said this.
Yeah, you said
Dude.
the C word. Nah, it's all
I
right.
know.
It's okay.
Sorry.
We
Having a
picked her up.
Having a
We
Pepsi.
picked her up. We
Oh,
picked her up. It's okay. It's okay.
must have been Rod and she was venting.
Yeah.
Pepsi.
Pepsi,
Yeah.
Pepsi, Pepsi.
Uh,
I'm gonna
well-
get a big Pepsi Coke.
thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
This was great.
Right here, 2 p.m. Until further notice.
UFN, don't forget to get your Locker Dash stuff in. Don't forget.
Yep,
yeah, look
watch
out for that post.
Watch this weekend for the post on the Facebook page.
Yep.
Wash your hands.
Don't
Keep
touch
your
your
distance.
face.
Keep the distance. And it's all good. Eventually, it's going to get good again.
We'll see you tomorrow. Naz.
This way.
That was awesome.
There you go.